Welcome to the Golden Seams, where we, Gabe and Michae, your hosts, invite you to join us on a transformative journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Our podcast is all about helping you uncover your authentic self, find your true calling, and create prosperity in alignment with your deepest values and aspirations.
We're embarking into the realm of self-love and self-worth, guided by the illuminating wisdom of Brené Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection. Prepare to challenge societal expectations and embrace your authentic self as we delve into this groundbreaking work that has touched millions of lives worldwide. Through Brown's expertise for wholehearted living, we'll discover together how to let go of who we think we're supposed to be and embrace who we truly are. Welcome to Guidepost 7, Cultivating Play and Rest, Letting Go of Exhaustion as a Status Symbol and Productivity as Self-Worth. Brené starts, I felt like an alien, like a visitor trying to figure out the customs and habits of people living lives that looked incredibly different from mine. There were many awkward moments when I struggled to understand what they, the wholehearted, were doing and why. I remember telling one of my colleagues, these wholehearted people fool around a lot. She laughed and asked, fool around? How? I don't know. They have fun, and I don't know what you call it. They hang out and do fun things. She looked confused, like what kind of fun things? Hobbies, crafts, sports? Yes, I replied, kind of like that, but not so organized. I look back on that conversation and think, how did I not know what I was seeing? It's play. A critically important component of wholehearted living is play. These folks play.
Brené says, I was lucky enough to find the work of Dr. Stuart Brown. Dr. Brown is a psychiatrist, clinical researcher, and founder of the National Institute for Play. He is also the author of a wonderful book titled Play, How It Shapes the Brain, Opens the Imagination, and Invigorates the Soul. Drawing on his own research, as well as the latest advances in biology, psychology, and neurology, Brown explains that play shapes our brain, helps us foster empathy, helps us navigate complex social groups, and is at the core of creativity and innovation. After reading the research on play, I now understand that play is as essential to our health and functioning as rest. What exactly is play? Brown proposes 7 properties of play, the first of which is that play is apparently purposeless. Basically, this means that we play for the sake of play. We do it because it's fun and we want to. The whole idea of play to me feels like the unfiltered expression of the will of the soul. And I think in my own childhood, I think it was easier at a younger age to just express spontaneously and be more playful, playful in my day-to-day, because I didn't have so many of these structures developed and formed in my mind about how to divide up my energy and what to focus on, priorities, all these different things. So I think it was easier to honor the random impulses and curiosities. I can definitely feel a connection back to like an inner child when I can do that again now.
That's so good. It seems like play sort of gets overridden by being socialized in a way.
I think so. I think because it's not inherently productive to the society, monetarily or otherwise, it's not encouraged.
That they know of.
That they know of, right?
I lived in Asia. Believe me, you need play. I've seen what happens when you work people to the point of overload.
Yeah, I believe you.
We have a problem. I think we have a crisis in the United States with that as well.
I agree. I think it's not considered an essential. She says at the beginning of the other guidepost, the last one, that there are no creative people and not creative people. It's just people who practice and people who don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same thing as like practicing exercise or diet and the choices we make. It affects our health, physical and mental. So maybe play, as weird as it sounds, is one of the essentials, on par with those.
I agree. I definitely believe it is. Brené continues, in today's culture where our self-worth is tied to our net worth and we base our worthiness on our level of productivity, spending time doing purposeless activities is rare. In fact, for many of us, it sounds like an anxiety attack waiting to happen. We've got so much to do and so little time that the idea of spending time doing anything unrelated to the to-do list actually creates stress. We convince ourselves that playing is a waste of precious time. We even convince ourselves that sleep is a terrible use of our time. We've got to get her done. It doesn't matter if our job is running a multi-million-dollar company, raising a family, creating art, or finishing school. We've got to keep our noses to the grindstone and work. There is no time to play around. But Brown argues that play is not an option. In fact, he writes, the opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression. He explains, respecting our biologically programmed need for play can transform work. It can bring back excitement and newness to our job. Play helps us deal with difficulties, provides a sense of expansiveness, promotes mastery of our craft, and is an essential part of the creative process. Most important, true play that comes from our own inner needs and desires is the only path to finding lasting joy and satisfaction in our work. In the long run, work does not work without play. The thing that I feel in adding to this is I feel like play connects us to the creator. And I know I go back to this a lot, but I just see so many people disconnected. That's why somebody can go off about their coffee who doesn't have anything to do with what's really going on, where it's not about the coffee. Is because if you're blowing up about that, like blowing up, if you're losing it on somebody, there's a disconnection there. And I believe that play actually helps with that connection, helps bridge that connection back to the creator.
I think that that's so great because it almost brings back the energy of creation or that connection to the creator, creating for joy or love or having these inward experiences in relation to your creation, or even like dancing when no one's looking kind of play, where it's not necessarily being done for acquisition or any sort of gain. It's for the experience itself.
Remember how we were talking about how when we joke around and laugh about something and then it seems to manifest for us
Yeah.
and we're just playing around?
Yeah.
When you go all hardcore on something, it's like pushing a boulder up a hill.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. And in the last episode we were just talking about the relationship between play and its ability to speed up our ability to learn new skills or new things. It completely imprints faster when we're doing it unstructured and unstressed, I think.
Yes.
There's more to explore. For full-length discussions, exclusive content, and easy-to-use tools designed to effortlessly support your authentic transformation, subscribe to our Patreon, The Golden Seams. Don't miss out. We welcome you to join our growing community and dive deeper into the topics you love. Experience The Golden Seams on Patreon and unlock the complete experience for yourself now. Brené says, what's shocking is the similarity between the biological need for play and our body's need for rest. A topic that also emerged as a major theme in wholehearted living. It seems that living and loving with our whole hearts requires us to respect our body's need for renewal. When I first researched the ideas of rest, sleep, and sleep debt, the term for not getting enough, I couldn't believe some of the consequences of not getting proper rest. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, insufficient sleep is associated with a number of chronic diseases and conditions, such as diabetes, heart disease, obesity, and depression. We're also learning that drowsy driving can be as dangerous and as preventable as driving while intoxicated. Yet somehow, many of us still believe that exhaustion is a status symbol of hard work and that sleep is a luxury. The result is that we are so very tired, dangerously tired. The same gremlins that tell us we're too busy to play and waste time fooling around are the ones that whisper, "One more hour of work. You can catch up on your sleep this weekend. Napping is for the weak. Push through. You can handle it." But the truth is, we can't handle it. We are a nation of exhausted and overstressed adults, raising overscheduled children. We use our spare time to desperately search for joy and meaning in our lives. We think accomplishments and acquisitions will bring joy and meaning, but that pursuit could be the very thing that's keeping us so tired and afraid to slow down. If we want to live a wholehearted life, we have to become intentional about cultivating sleep and play, and about letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth.
Wow. Letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth.
Hmm.
That should be on like every corporate building somewhere.
Yeah. Part of the employee training.
Just on every corporate wall.
And the part where she said we are a nation of exhausted and overstressed adults raising overscheduled children really stood out to me. It made me imagine everybody in a household being so overbooked that they don't have time for themselves or the family. So these things aren't being cultivated or developed, and it made me feel that there's like just so much space.
Getting lost looking in on the outside or looking in from the outside instead of looking within.
Yes, missing out on what's around you.
Brené tells us that her and her husband Steve sat down and they went to work at answering this question. When things are going really well in our family, what does it look like? She says the answers included sleep, working out, healthy food, cooking, time off, weekends away, going to church, being present with the kids, a sense of control over our money, meaningful work that doesn't consume us, time to piddle, time with family and close friends, alone time, and time to just hang out. These were and are our, quote, ingredients for joy and meaning. Then Brené tells us they looked at their dream list that they had started making a couple of years earlier and had continued adding more things onto. She says everything on this list was an accomplishment or an acquisition: a house with more bedrooms, a trip here, personal salary goals, professional endeavors, and so forth. Everything required that we make more money and spend more money. My question to our listeners is, what does it look like for you when things are going really well? We would love to hear your comments on the platform. This is always about achieving or having, acquiring, the end result versus the journey. She goes on to say, when we compared our dream list to our joy and meaning list, we realized that by merely letting go of the list of things we want to accomplish and acquire, we would actually be living our dream, not striving to make it happen in the future, but living it right now. The things we were working toward did nothing in terms of making our life fuller.
Wow. I thought that was so deep.
Definitely.
Brené says embracing our joy and meaning list has not been easy. There are days when it makes perfect sense, and then there are days when I get sucked into believing how much better everything would be.
This reminds me of a course that I was taking. It was one of the top schools in the United States about commercial real estate. I never finished the course because about a third of the way through, I kept seeing a repetitive pattern where it was more important to make however extra many millions, even though it was negligible on the bottom line when you're making millions upon millions. These were real case studies. People were thinking that, well, if I displace these people, then it would make me more money. The company would have more money for the next deal, but it really became negligible. And I found myself asking a question on one of the class conference calls, and it was global. Well, how much money do you need? I mean, how much is enough? Of course, it was met with silence. But to me, I wasn't willing to write a moral check displacing people from their homes just so we could make a few extra million that would be negligible to the bottom line overall. People messaged me afterwards, right, privately, but nobody had my back. I asked this question, and the people who really wanted this extra money, to me, the greed was gross. It reminds me of joy. I could not live in any kind of joy. There would be no satisfaction in having that money, no matter what, or working for a company that was so greedy, which I have, and I've left them, to the expense of a human being. I just cannot rectify those two things in my head.
It's hard to understand.
It is, and I'm not saying I'm some really wonderful person, but I could never just check my morals in at the door. It was difficult, but I knew I could live with myself, and I can live with myself. And things that I've done in my career and throughout made a big difference in the amount of joy I had in my life. Brené tells us that they began to limit extracurricular activities for their kids. They chose what's the most meaningful when it comes to sports, extracurriculars, and other activities. She says, we also insist that their school goals include as many dances as AP courses, and sleep is not something we negotiate in our house. But then she asks, what if I'm wrong? What if busy and exhausted is what it takes? What if they don't get to go to the college of their choice because they don't play the violin and don't speak Mandarin and French and don't play 6 sports? What if we're normal and quiet and happy? Does that count? If what matters to us is what we're concerned about, then play and rest is important. If what matters to us is what other people think or say or value, then it's back to exhaustion and producing for self-worth. The comment that I have here is simply that the universe will not let you hide. You will always be seen because you matter. I believe that. So if you choose to be normal and quiet and happy, it absolutely counts, because in my understanding, there aren't any nobodies here. This is a red carpet world. It's a who's who of the universe. And I strongly suspect that each person represents entire realms and beings here. I don't think any path you take is wrong.
That's beautiful. Brené shares the Dig Deep for Guidepost 7. Get deliberate. One of the best things that we've ever done in our family is making the ingredients for joy and meaning list. I encourage you sit down and make a list of the specific conditions that are in place when everything feels good in your life. Then check that list against your to-do list and your to-accomplish list. It might surprise you. Get inspired. I'm continually inspired by Stuart Brown's work on play and Daniel Pink's book, A Whole New Mind. If you want to learn more about the importance of play and rest, read these books. Get going. Say no today. Buck the system. Take something off your list and add, take a nap.
I so appreciate Say No Today. In saying no to the things we don't want opens the door and creates the space and invitation to say yes to the things we do. We're truly grateful for your presence and participation in this journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Remember, your path to authenticity and prosperity is unique, and we're honored to be a part of it. If you found value in today's episode, we invite you to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. Until next time, embrace your imperfections and let them be your greatest gifts.
This is Gabe and Michae signing off from the Golden Seams. May you discover the courage to be vulnerable, the compassion to love yourself, and the wisdom to live wholeheartedly. May your path be golden as you find the strength to mend and beautify the broken parts of your life, weaving golden threads through the fabric of your authentic self, just like the art of kintsugi. We'll see you in our next episode.